What's up, dogs and dogettes? Welcome to Week 16, the penultimate week of the 2015 NFL football season, and a penultimate week of our pick'em against the spread. And as always, I got FitzCanada here. How's it going, Fitz?
Good. Looking to end strong, build off the last week.
Yeah, same here. Well, let's go over last week's results. I was 12-4, straight up win-loss, 10-5-1 versus the spread. Brings my grand total up to 133-91 win-loss and 116-101-7 versus the spread. So I'm still pretty high above 500. I'm going to finish above 500, I think, unless I have two tumblingly terrible weeks, which I don't think is going to happen. I'm going to actually expand upon that above the 500, hopefully. So let's go over to Fitz. He was 13-3 straight up. Really good week. That puts him at 133-91 total overall, so tied with me again in the win-loss. Against the spread, he was 11-4-1. He beat me by one game and is 87-81-7. So he's back above 500. Feeling good about that, Fitz?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a groove right now. Kind of got a good feel of how the teams are playing. I think this week's going to be pretty good, too. A couple games that are kind of a toss-up, but I think it's going to be another good week.
I agree. Definitely some toss-ups. It's got some interesting spreads. I just looked at them a couple hours ago before I went to see Star Wars, which was amazing.
Great movie.
Yes, it was. But let's jump into the Thursday night game. And we have Oakland at home, favored by 5.5 points against the San Diego Chargers. Now, the Chargers beat up on the Miami Dolphins at home. I don't know if it was the symbolicness because it might be their last game at Qualcomm, or just Danny Woodhead said, hey, give me 4 touchdowns. I don't know. But Oakland got beat by my Packers. Packers D looked good. The Packers O looked a little bit better. I saw some flashes, the back shoulder passes and all that stuff. But Oakland favored by 5.5 points is a lot. I mean, they didn't play that good at home. Maybe it's going to be symbolic because Woodson's finally retiring. But I think I'm going to pick... Boy, that's tough. I think I'm just going to go San Diego in this one to cover the spread, Oakland to win. I think that's what I'm going to do this week. What do you think, Fitz?
I feel the same way you do, actually. And again, this is one of the ones that I had the hardest time picking, just because Oakland seems they're almost on par with the Dolphins as of late. They haven't been good.
Yeah.
Even though they look better going forward, just recently not so great. And I called it last week. I said, hey, last game at Qualcomm here, Phillip Rivers is going to ball out.
Yeah, you're right.
Didn't call Danny Woodhead, but they won that game easily. I don't know. They're not going to bring the same fire. It's probably a little bit of a hangover after the emotional high of that week.
Yeah.
But in a game where you're really unsure like this and you have a spread of 5.5, I think I've got to take the underdog San Diego to cover. But I just like you, I think the Raiders will win.
Okay, sounds good. Now we're moving on to, I think, the Saturday game. Philadelphia favored by 3, the traditional 3-point home favorite against the Washington Redskins. Now, Washington coming off a big win against Buffalo. Buffalo is the most self-destructive team in the league, in my opinion. Philly got absolutely demolished by a better team in the Arizona Cardinals, and their flaws showed. Bradford threw some picks, a lot of fumbles, a lot of turnovers, unforced errors. Washington played a solid game, jumped out to a big lead, ended up holding on. I want to go Washington in this game. I think Washington, with Deshaun Jackson back, revenge game, part 2 of the season, that it opens it up for Jordan Reed, and he's been feasting since Deshaun Jackson has come back. Pierre Garçon and Cousins has just had like a 70% completion percentage this year. It's just doing really, really well. So I'm going to go Washington in this game.
Washington all the way. Good pick. I can't. I want to see so badly how those Philly fans react when Washington walks all over them. They're going to start leaving. It's going to be second quarter, third quarter. Will things be thrown on the field? How many boo birds will there be? It's going to be fun. Washington's going to win and cover this game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it will be. And it'll knock them out of the playoffs, too, I think, the playoff hunt.
Yep.
So there's a lot riding on it. Then let's go to the Sunday games. Grudge match in New York, in the Meadowlands. The Jets at home, underdogs by 3 points against New England. Now, the Jets played so poorly last Saturday. He couldn't even cover the 3-point spread in Dallas. Dallas brought in Kellen Moore, who has never thrown a pass in an NFL game.
Throws with the wrong hand, too.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. It actually looked feasible against the Jets, which is surprising. And I just think the Jets are not as good as advertised. New England took it to Tennessee, and Tennessee just didn't have much of a team. I think the Jets at home is going to be a close game, but I can't go against the Jets. New England needs this game to get the number 1 seed. They'd already clinched division, but one more win, and they are in the number 1 seed.
Yeah, the Jets really need this game because it's looking more and more like the Steelers and Chiefs have essentially locked up the wild card unless the Jets win this game. But they're not good enough. It's going to be the Patriots winning cover.
All right. Well, we're not differing yet, but we might differ on this one. Who knows? Tennessee at home against Houston, which could be the Brandon Weeden-led Houston Texans. Texans favored by 2.5 points on the road. And I don't see Tennessee as giving up on the season yet. Delaney Walker kind of called the team out. It was tough they had to go into New England last week. Houston looked pretty good there and actually pulled out a win against Indianapolis. Indianapolis is kind of done as well. And I think Houston's going to ride that momentum and actually pull out a win in this game as well. Tennessee's just not that strong a team. Houston's got a good defense, and they'll do enough on offense with the weapons that they have with Weeden. Hopefully he doesn't turn the ball over, and they're going to win and cover this one.
So there's the problem, what you just said. You said Houston's got a pretty good defense. Well, so does Tennessee. And I like Zach Mettenberger a whole lot more than I like Brandon Weeden.
Okay.
They got a pretty solid secondary. Jonathan Joseph, former Cincinnati Bengal, has been pretty solid for them all year. Mm-hmm. Brandon, I mean, if you're going to bet on who's going to make more turnovers, Brandon Weeden or Mettenberger, it's got to be Weeden. And in what's likely going to be a low-scoring game, turnovers are going to be the difference for sure. So I've got the Titans winning and covering this one because they shut down Mariota for the rest of the season, did they not?
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
And I always thought Mettenberger, even going back to last year, I thought he looked like he could start somewhere eventually. He definitely deserves it. It's a bad position for him now, being behind someone actually younger than him when he was a third year himself. He needs the chance to go somewhere where if he's going to be a backup, he can be behind somebody a bit older and maybe eventually be a replacement for them. This is a big chance for him. He's going to show up. I really like the Titans to win this one and cover.
All right, sounds good. Next game, Kansas City favored by 12.5 at home against the Cleveland Browns. Now, Johnny Manziel didn't do too much. He led them to an early touchdown there in Seattle last week, and I was like, oh boy, they're not going to cover this spread. But then Seattle just basically took the game over, forced a pick here and there, and just stymied pretty much all of Cleveland's offense. Kansas City took it to, who did they play last week? It doesn't matter. They crushed them. Baltimore. Baltimore just doesn't have an offense. Kansas City's not good at covering spreads at home. And 12.5 points is a lot. I was wavering. I'm going to go Cleveland on this one. I think Cleveland's going to cover the spread. Kansas City's going to win by 10, but I think J-Man will do enough to keep them in the game. And I'll go Cleveland on this one.
Kansas City win and cover. I think the defense is going to do enough to frustrate Johnny, who's done well not to make mistakes so far in his starts.
Yep.
I think their defense is good enough that they're going to frustrate him enough to make him make those mistakes and maybe get a defensive score. I don't think it's going to be a shootout. Probably something like 21 to, well, they'd have to score a bit more than that to cover, actually.
Yeah.
Can they pull off like a 28-10? I think they could. With a defensive score, they can get 3 touchdowns from the offense on Cleveland.
Sure.
I'll say 28-10, Chiefs win cover.
All right, sounds good. Now let's move on to the next game. Miami, I have on my spreadsheet Miami, I spelled it wrong. Favored by 3.5 points at home against the Indianapolis Colts. Miami is just the Jekyll and Hyde team. They have 2 amazing weeks, then they have like 3 terrible weeks, then they come back and win a game, then they lose 3 in a row. They play good, they hand it off to Miller. Miller has a great game. Then they don't hand it off to Miller, they too are terrible. I just can't trust this team. I can't trust either of these teams. Wow. I don't know. Is Hasselbeck still hurt?
He's
Clipboard
not
Jesus coming in?
100%. He's not 100% healthy for sure. Will he play? I'm not sure, to be honest.
Charlie Whitehurst. Okay. Well, 3.5 points. Man, that's kind of a lot. I don't see Miami putting up that many points. I'm gonna take. I'll take Miami though. I'll take Miami. I think Indy's just packing it in. I think they're done for the year. This is just a huge pick'em game, and I have all away teams so far, so I'm gonna pick a home team. That's my justification for it.
Similar feel to the Oakland-San Diego game.
Yeah.
Where both these teams just, some weeks they've been huge, but you just can't bet on them. They're so inconsistent, and
yeah,
they're just bad teams. Bad
Yes,
teams
they
who can
are.
sometimes be good. So it's you said Indy by 3 favored?
No, Miami's favored by 3.5.
Miami favored by 3.5. All right. Jeez. Literally a coin flip here. I don't have
Yep.
a coin by me, so I'll go Miami as well. I just don't. I can't bet on Indy. Can't do
Yeah.
it. And Miami's had more weeks where they've shown up. I think they've had some
Yeah.
weeks where they just go off on offense. Let's hope it's one of those weeks.
Yeah, I feel like Indy's been the benefactor of some bad teams, and they've squeaked by with some wins. And Miami's a bad team,
Yeah.
but they actually have like a decent offense. When it does show up.
Yeah.
So next game, New Orleans at home. This is going to be a shootout, I think. New Orleans favored by 3.5 at home against Jacksonville. Two not very good defenses. One in New Orleans, the worst defense in the league. Drew Brees, they got behind really early in that Detroit game and pretty much gave my pick not a chance to come back, but you ended up getting that one right last week.
Yep.
Jacksonville, my man Bortles, I think is going to tear up New Orleans. I think New Orleans will win by a field goal, but I'm going to pick Jacksonville to cover the spread in this one. I think it's going to be a close game. There's going to be a lot of points. I just think Jacksonville is the more well-rounded team. I thought I'd never say that facing New Orleans, but I'm going to have to go Jacksonville in this one.
It's a bit of a conundrum how Jacksonville's offense has been what's keeping them alive this year. They're done now, pretty much, but their offense has been doing it. But when they hired Gus Bradley, he was supposed to be some kind of defensive guru here, and their defense has been what's holding them back. I can't understand what's so bad with that defense. They got Paul Posluszny is just a beast at linebacker.
Yeah.
We've got some good safeties, Telvin Smith. Like, there are a lot of tools on the defense, but this is so bad. This could be an 80-point game. Like you said, it's going to be a shootout. I like Jacksonville to win and cover, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, I need Bortles in my my consolation round for third place in my one league.
Yeah, I'm in.
Because
the
Odell
same
Beckham Jr.
situation.
is out for me. So thanks, ODB. You're a real pal.
Yeah, diva.
Yes. All right, next game, Detroit. Aforementioned, favored by 9 points at home against the San Francisco 49ers. 9 points is a lot. I first look at this spread, I was like, 9 points for Detroit? They didn't even beat New Orleans by 9, and they were up 3 touchdowns in that game.
Yeah.
And then San Francisco laid an egg last week. Couple turnovers at the end of the half, pretty much sealed their fate, and McCarron, did enough to win that game for them, which we all figured was going to happen. Boy, Detroit 9 points. Holy cow. You know what? Since I haven't really made any of my picks for real yet, and I'm just going by the seat of my pants, San Francisco is just not a good team. They don't travel the best. They did beat the Bears. Gabbert's not the best. And Detroit, coming off a win, I think they'll have a little bit of gumption in their step, a little bit of pep, and I think they're going to win. They're going to win and cover this one. They're going to win handily there at Ford Field and give those fans a nice Christmas treat for themselves.
I like Detroit, too. This has to be the best 0-7 team ever. That offense is actually pretty good. They've had some off weeks, and that's why they lost a bunch of games, but generally, they've got a lot of talent there. Stafford, a lot of people were saying maybe they move on from him after the season. No, you look at all the teams that don't have a quarterback, they would give a lot for Stafford.
Yes, they would. Yes, they would.
They're gonna hold on to Stafford. Stafford can still play. still put up points. They're going to do it this week. I'll take Stafford over Gabbert any day of the week. Like you said, it's going to be a good show in front of the home crowd. Something like 33 to 13, I'll say.
Okay. That sounds about right. That's what I was thinking as well. I was thinking more like 30-17, but in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
Now, all right, next game. Buffalo favored by 6 points at home against the Dallas Cowboys, visiting Dallas Cowboys. Buffalo has just been horrendous the last few weeks. They're the most penalized team in the league, and they continue to head that direction as being the most penalized team in the history of the NFL for one season. Dallas played halfway decent. I think I think the Jets played down to their competition, honestly, rather than Dallas playing up last week. McFadden looks feasible. Kellen Moore, if he's starting this game and it's his first game in Buffalo, Rex Ryan's going to be looking for blood. I think Buffalo is going to win and cover this one. I don't think Dallas has a chance, honestly. Outside of McFadden, Bryant has done nothing. Cole Beasley, he's done nothing outside of one game this season. Terrence Williams, just a shadow that runs routes on the field, doesn't really catch much. So I'm going to go Buffalo to win and cover this one, actually.
Yeah, stick a fork in the Cowboys. They've just got nothing left this year. I don't know what their schedule is next week, but I doubt they beat the Bills. I doubt they beat whoever they play next week.
Yeah, they play Washington at home next week.
That'll be a fun game, actually. That has, I'm sure they'd love to spoil Washington's playoff chances.
Yep.
That'll be fun, but I like Washington in that too. I can't bet. You can't ask me to bet on the Cowboys when they've got third-string quarterback in there. Defense is good, but not good enough to make up for an offense that's going to put up maybe 2 field goals in a game. So,
right. Bills
win and cover.
All right, sounds good. Next game, Atlanta at home, 7-point underdogs against Carolina. There's talk that Cam might not play. Olsen's banged up. But let's just take a look at for what it is. Carolina is a 14-0 team. It doesn't matter who they're playing right now, especially a division opponent in a very weak division. I'm going to go Carolina in this one. There's no beater on the bush here. So, pretty easy pick for me. Carolina to win and cover.
Not as easy for me because as great as that defense is, and this game should just come down to that terrible defense of Atlanta and the great defense of Carolina, they failed me hard last week.
Beat up 35-7.
They were destroying the Giants, and then they let them get back in and then let the Giants cover that spread. And when I look at the Giants and I look at the Falcons, when the Falcons show up, that offense, look at the start of the season, they're better than the Giants offense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Eli and Beckham, but outside of that, the Giants really don't have anything of note. But the Falcons, they can spread it around more when they're there. And they're a streaky team. When they were playing well at the start of the season, they had that winning streak, and then they had the disgusting losing streak. But now they're coming off a win. So if they're going to be a streaky team, maybe the offense shows up again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Panthers to win, but Falcons to cover.
Okay. Very nice. I mean, Atlanta, they did beat Jacksonville, and Jacksonville was, kind of fighting for a playoff spot. It was an outside chance, but, they still had to win the game. All right, so now we got Tampa Bay at home, favored by 3 points against the Chicago Bears. And the Bears just got absolutely crushed in Minnesota. Bridgewater actually showed up. AP didn't. He was kind of hurt for most of the game. Tampa Bay didn't really show up last week in, St. Louis. They kind of got throttled. Tampa Bay at home, I think, is a little bit better. I don't think Chicago, I thought they were going to be road warriors and cover the spread last week. And obviously I missed out on that one. I just think they're kind of packing it in for the year. Tampa kind of has an outside shot. They both do. Man, this is a coin flip game again.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm going to take Tampa at home. Just because I don't like the Bears. And
as good a reason as any.
Yeah, and I mean the Bears just seem they were behind the 8 ball the entire season. And Tampa, I think Lovie Smith is going to want to win this game personally.
He will.
For sure. So factor that in as well.
inversely, I'm sure a lot of Bears are going to want to beat Lovie Smith.
Yes,
I don't think. I
true.
think he wasn't. I don't think he was the most loved coach in Bears history, at least by the fans. I guess I can't
Yeah,
really speak for the players, but I feel like particularly a guy like Cutler was probably pretty frustrated playing under him.
yep.
And I think I like the Bears in this one. I think they got enough on offense that they'll just simply score more than the Bucs offense will. The defenses are probably comparable, an edge to the Buccaneers, though. They've got a pretty good D-line.
Sure.
I don't actually couldn't name any players on the Bears defense, I don't think. But I don't think they're awful. Am I wrong on that? Are they awful?
The Bears, they're not awful. I mean, they're not great, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're definitely lower half this season.
Yeah, I just like their offense better than the Bucs offense, who we've seen is inconsistent. They've dropped some games they shouldn't have after we all started thinking they might make a run for the wild card.
Sure.
I'll take the Bears in this one, win and cover.
All right. Now, big game. Minnesota favored by 6 points at home against the New York Football Giants. Now, we all saw what Odell Beckham Jr. did last week after he dropped that opening touchdown, which pretty much killed my fantasy league.
Yeah.
Norman was in his head all game. Personal fouls, just unsportsmanlike conduct, just acting like a
That was ugly to see.
15-year-old immature young man who just had lost it on the field, you know. And now he's suspended for a game, so that takes away the Giants' main threat. Rashad Jennings actually had a decent game last week. I just think the Giants on the road, it's not going to be a pretty sight. If AP doesn't play, though, it's going to be a lot closer because the two main stars of this game are going to be out, and then you're just going to have to factor in QBs and coaches. And obviously Eli and Coughlin are a little better duo than Bridgewater and Zimmer. So this is a tough one. You know what? I'm going to go Giants to cover. I'll say Minnesota to win the game.
All right, I'll go Minnesota, win and cover. I just can't see the Giants getting it done without Beckham. Eli has been inconsistent this year. His numbers are just, well, I should say Beckham's numbers are just gaudy as hell.
Yeah, they are.
Just so embellished, which I'm sure if you were to replace Beckham with another receiver on that offense, Eli's numbers wouldn't be anywhere near as good this year. At the start of the season, he was bad. Eli was bad.
Yeah, he was.
And you take away his best weapon, he could be bad again against a pretty good defense in Minnesota. So I really like Minnesota to win and cover this one.
Okay, I think that's a smart pick too. The Giants are the spread killers, as we saw last week. They came back just to cover the spread. So now this is a tough game. We got Seattle surging, with 6 straight wins. I think there's 5 straight wins at least. I think they're 9-5 now. Favored by 13.5 points at home against St. Louis. St. Louis coming off the win, 10 days rest, and Seattle wanting to add a little revenge for St. Louis beating them the first game of the season in overtime. I just can't see Seattle losing this game at home. Will they cover the spread? I think they will, because I think their team is just gelling at the right time.
Yeah.
They've put up 30-plus points pretty much the last 4 or 5 weeks, stomping out the competition hard. Doug Baldwin has turned into a receiver I thought he would be at the beginning of the season, and he didn't pan out the first 6 weeks, so I dropped him off of one of my teams. But, and now they have a running game. I mean, I know that Rawls is out, but Christian Michael came in. He was all right. Bryce Brown came in. He did enough, so I think Seattle's going to win and cover this game. I think St. Louis just doesn't have enough firepower to stick with them.
Like I said last week, it's looking more and more like a Seattle-Pittsburgh Super Bowl could happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd put money on it, but it's every week. I just have this feeling, man, because I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Pittsburgh make the Super Bowl.
I don't want to see Seattle.
I'd much rather see the Cards or the Packers or
the
Panthers.
The Cardinals would be cool to watch, definitely.
That's my if I could pick a Super Bowl, it'd be Cardinals Bengals. Both of those fan bases deserve it. I mean, that'd be like the NFL would hate that though. It's like
they would, but
people would children of the league.
Yeah, but people would still watch them.
People would still watch, especially if Dalton was back and everybody's healthy. It'd be a great show, but geez, what game are we talking about?
Seattle, St. Louis.
Yeah, okay. Do we have to bet on St. Louis games? Can we just stop? Because, like, God.
Sadly, they covered last week.
Spread killers. Yeah.
So.
I'll go with Seahawks winning cover, but God, I hate betting against St. Louis.
Yeah. All right, next game. The game of the week, in my opinion. Arizona Cardinals favored by 4.5 points against my Green Bay Packers. Now we saw what Arizona and David Johnson did to the Eagles last week. 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, pretty much submarined my chance at making it to the finals in my fantasy football league with his 40 points. Green Bay, we all know Arizona has a pretty much better defense, more weapons on offense, and a really good special teams. But I go with the heart, and I'm going Green Bay to actually cover the spread and possibly win this game. But definitely cover the spread. It's going to be a lot closer than the 40-17 shellacking that Philly took last week. So I got Green Bay covering the spread at least, and I'm going to say they're going to win. But I'm not very confident on that one.
All right. Homer dog here.
Yes, Homer dog indeed.
I like the Cardinals to win and cover this game. Packers offense just not getting it done. Thanks a lot, Richard Rodgers. Last week, 7 yards. Jeez.
Yeah.
With Eifert down, I had to pick up someone, and he looked like the best option. I was a free agent, but nope. Good Lord. And it was against the Raiders' defense gave up like the second or third most points to tight ends. I was like, oh, this looks perfect. Nope.
Yep. That's the Packers' offense to tight end. That's how it always has been.
So out of spite for Richard Rodgers and the Packers' offense, I got to take the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals better, though. Their defense and even their offense, to be honest, this year. I like just both sides of the ball. I got to go with the Cards. And 4 points isn't that unrealistic.
Yeah.
Cards win and cover this one. Got to do it.
All right. I think the big thing for Green Bay is that Tyrann Mathieu might not play.
He's out for the season.
Oh, he's out? Okay. So, I mean, that's a big thing, having that safety, because he's a ball hawk. So
He is.
maybe Rodgers can, pick that defense apart, even though Patrick Peterson is going to be probably gunning for a Rodgers pick. So we'll see. Anyway, let's go to Baltimore at home. Underdogs by 10 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't put American money on Baltimore in any games that are facing really good teams. And Pittsburgh, after their comeback down 27-7 to Denver, I thought my spread was done. I thought it was done. I was like, whatever. I'll chalk that one up as a loss.
I thought it was done too.
And then they came back. That Pittsburgh and the Giants both came back to cover for me last week. And I'm going to go Pittsburgh, obviously, in this one. I think they're going to put up about 35 points against their division rivals, and they're going to stomp Baltimore into the rest of the offseason, and they're going to have to be licking their wounds for a while after this one.
That Denver defense choked like dogs. Like you said, I was thinking, oh yeah, I made a big picking the Broncos against everybody's taking Pittsburgh. I was like, yeah, it looks great, and then they have to go and do that, and this is supposed to be the best defense in the league up there with Carolina and Cardinals.
Yep.
And again, going back to the Super Bowl, if they can't stop them, who can? This Pittsburgh offense is just so good. Antonio Brown is unbelievable. Ben Roethlisberger is fantastic as always. Heath Miller, old reliable. When nothing else is working, they can always just check it down to him, pick up 7 yards, which they did like 12 times against the Bengals game. That was really frustrating watching him catch it like every play.
Yeah.
So yeah, Steelers win and cover. I can't bet Canadian money on the Ravens ever.
Yes,
so
I agree.
Let's go Steelers for 1 week.
All right, now we're coming to the game, the Monday Night Football game that could decide the number 2 seed. And the aforementioned Denver Broncos, who couldn't hold it up last week for Fitz, favored by 3.5 points at home in Mile High Stadium against my Cincinnati Bengals. This is a tough game. I don't think McCarron is as good a backup as Osweiler. I feel like the running game of Cincy might be a little bit better because I think Gio Bernard can do more out of the backfield than Hillman or Anderson can. Denver D, obviously a little bit better, but I mean, how good are they after last week? This is just an incredibly tough game to pick.
It is.
Just looking at it and trying to weigh the options. I mean, Denver is at home. Cincinnati did travel to, albeit San Francisco last week and won. I think this is going to be a close game, but I think Denver is going to probably win this game. Are they going to cover? I think it's going to be closer than we think, but I'm going to pick Denver in this game just because I feel like I haven't seen anything from McCarron that's really wowed me and that can bring them back from a deficit. I think Osweiler will get them out to a lead early there in front of the home crowd.
Pains me to say it, but yeah, I can't envision the Bengals pulling this one out in any way. And it's not about McCarron for me. It's the running game. The running game has not been good recently.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be the most overrated running game in the league. I don't know what's happened to start the season. They were fantastic.
They were.
A lot of that is probably Dalton being so great through the air. And he was, honestly, people don't give him enough credit as being a dual threat quarterback. He's made some great runs when he was in there this season.
Very true.
Crazy legs Dalton. But yeah, this game I gotta go with the Broncos to win and cover. I don't see the Bengals offense getting it done unless that defense pulls what they did last week against Pittsburgh. But I can't see that happening. So Broncos win and cover.
All right, sounds good. Well, there are the picks. Remember to leave your picks below in the comments section. Put the team and then win and cover or win and don't cover. And see how you do against me and Fitz this week. There's 2 weeks left, so it's going to come down to the wire between us, Fitz, especially in the straight up games. We're tied, so
yeah, it's going to be close.
It's going to be an exciting finish. So good luck to you. Good luck to all out there, and we'll see you next week. Anything else, Fitz?
Good luck, and go Bengals, I hope.
Yeah, and go Pack.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
Take care, man.